NMESIS, I will confirm that it's already in country. I will not say where, but it is going to participate. It's going to be part of the exercises.
Launch mission.
Enemy in the open. Guns in effect.
I authenticate. Oscar.
Sir, NMESIS is operational. Target acquisition confirmed, standing by for a fire mission. The voice crackled over the radio, breaking the silence on the remote edge of Cagayan North International Airport. Against a backdrop of dense jungle and looming coastal cliffs, U.S. Marines moved with quiet precision, offloading a sleek, unmanned vehicle armed with one of the most advanced anti-ship missiles in the world. This wasn't just another training drill. It was a message, loud and clear. For the first time in history, the Navy Marine Expeditionary Ship Interdiction System, or NMESIS, has touched down in the Philippines. Unveiled by the U.S. Marines of the 3rd Marine Littoral Regiment during the 2025 Balikatan exercises, this deployment represents more than a technological showcase. It signals a strategic shift in how the United States is preparing to defend its allies and challenge rising threats across the Indo-Pacific. Set against escalating tensions in the South China Sea and an increasingly assertive China, the presence of NMESIS on Philippine soil, particularly in the northern province of Cagayan, just a short missile flight from Taiwan and the Luzon Strait, is a game-changer. Backed by Japan's self-defense forces and Australian troops, and observed by 16 nations, this year's Balikatan drills have transformed into a real-world rehearsal of island defense and allied resolve. The recent deployment of NMESIS, Navy Marine Expeditionary Ship Interdiction System, at Cagayan North International Airport, isn't just another military drill. It's a loud, clear message. A message aimed directly at China's growing presence in the South China Sea. Built around the Naval Strike Missile, NSM, and mounted on a remote-operated JLTV, Joint Light Tactical Vehicle, NMESIS is no ordinary weapon system. It's mobile, stealthy, and lethal, designed specifically for island-hopping warfare. Think of it as a hunter-killer unit, capable of striking enemy warships from land with pinpoint accuracy, without ever exposing U.S. or allied troops to direct fire. This makes NMESIS the perfect tool for the Expeditionary Advanced Base Operations, EABO, strategy. A modern warfare concept built around small, agile units operating from remote islands to deny enemy naval movement. And where better to test this than the northern Philippines? Because it's close to Taiwan, close to the Bashi Channel, and right in the middle of the first island chain, a strategic choke point. Deploying NMESIS here transforms this region into a no-go zone for hostile ships. It's a serious deterrent, not just a display of power. In short, NMESIS in the Philippines is a game-changer, one that strengthens deterrence, strengthens the U.S.-Philippines alliance, and sends a chilling reminder to any power eyeing the West Philippine Sea. Your ships may not be safe anymore. The 3rd Marine Littoral Regiment, 3rd MLR, represents a bold shift in U.S. Marine Corps doctrine under the sweeping reforms of Force Design 2030. Rather than preparing for traditional amphibious landings or prolonged ground operations, the 3rd MLR is purpose-built for rapid, high-impact missions within enemy weapons range. It reflects a leaner, smarter, and deadlier Marine force, engineered for 21st-century conflict across the Indo-Pacific. Operating primarily in contested maritime zones like the South China Sea and Luzon Strait, the 3rd MLR is designed to move fast and strike hard. Its units are small, agile, and highly mobile, ideal for hopping between islands, setting up temporary bases, launching precision strikes, and vanishing before enemy forces can respond. This shoot-and-scoot capability is central to a new operational doctrine known as Expeditionary Advanced Base Operations, which focuses on creating temporary firing and surveillance positions across strategic islands. What makes the 3rd MLR truly lethal is its access to cutting-edge weapons like the NMESIS. Navy Marine Expeditionary Ship Interdiction System, which launches naval strike missiles from land. With such firepower, the regiment can sink warships from hundreds of kilometers away, disrupting enemy naval movements and reinforcing sea denial operations. These capabilities make the 3rd MLR a cornerstone of U.S. efforts to counter China's military expansion and secure vital maritime choke points without needing large-scale deployments. In essence, the 3rd MLR is not just a new unit, it's a glimpse into the future of U.S. naval warfare. Fast, flexible, and relentlessly focused on maintaining freedom of movement in the world's most contested waters. Balikatan 2025 is shaping up to be the most significant iteration yet of the annual U.S.-Philippines Joint Military Exercise. With over 14,000 troops from the U.S. and the Philippines, the scale alone sends a strong message of readiness and alliance commitment. But what truly sets this year apart is Japan's full participation, a first in the history of Balikatan, marking the exercise's transformation from a bilateral drill into a mini Indo-Pacific coalition in the making. Japan's entry highlights growing regional resolve against China's coercive behavior in the South and East China Seas. The inclusion of Japanese self-defense forces adds new capabilities, particularly in amphibious operations, surveillance, and humanitarian response, highlighting a maturing trilateral security dynamic. What's even more telling is who's watching.
We are looking at more or less 14,000 participants on both sides. We have an increase in the number of participants with the Australian Defence Force, the ADF. I think there are around 200, am I right, Doug? 200 participants from the ADF. We are going to have active observers coming from the JSDF, the Japanese Self-Defense Force.
Observers from India, Vietnam, and Indonesia are attending Balikatan 2025, subtly signaling interest in deeper defense coordination.
This is also the reason why we do these joint exercises, to make sure that all of these not only work as single service operations, but they also work together as part of a joint force.
While not official participants, their presence hints at a potential emerging multilateral alignment across the Indo-Pacific, united not by formal alliances, but by shared concerns over regional stability, freedom of navigation, and Beijing's increasingly assertive posture. Balikatan, meaning shoulder to shoulder, now stands as more than just a symbol of U.S.-Philippines cooperation. It's becoming a platform for Indo-Pacific defense collaboration, laying the groundwork for more integrated, interoperable, and resilient responses to future regional crises. China's anti-ship missile arsenal, particularly the YJ-12B and DF-21D carrier killers, boasts impressive range and firepower. On paper, these systems can strike targets far beyond the reach of U.S. ground-based systems like NMESIS. However, war is rarely fought on paper alone. In real-world island warfare, mobility, stealth, and adaptability often outmatch brute force. This is where NMESIS, Navy Marine Expeditionary Ship Interdiction System, comes into play. Mounted on a remote-operated JLTV and firing precision-guided naval strike missiles, NMESIS may have a shorter range than China's missiles, but it's highly mobile, rapidly deployable, and difficult to detect. These qualities give it a critical edge in the dispersed, contested battle spaces of the South China Sea and First Island chain. China's systems rely on fixed launchers, large radar footprints, and predictable logistics, making them vulnerable to disruption. In contrast, NMESIS fits neatly into the U.S. Marine Corps' Expeditionary Advanced Base Operations (EABO) concept, allowing small units to quickly set up, strike, and relocate before being detected or targeted. In short, while China's missiles may hit harder and farther, NMESIS hits smarter, and in the rugged, fragmented terrain of the Indo-Pacific, that might make all the difference. The deployment of NMESIS in the Philippines carries significant strategic risks. While it enhances deterrence against Chinese aggression, it also provokes Beijing, potentially escalating military activity in the region. China's response could include increased patrols, missile deployments, or even cyber attacks targeting Philippine and U.S. assets. This could further raise tensions and provoke a regional arms race, forcing other nations in the Indo-Pacific to strengthen their military postures in response. Domestically, the presence of NMESIS also tests Filipino public sentiment. While President Ferdinand Marcos Jr. has reaffirmed his commitment to the U.S.-Philippine alliance, including the Enhanced Defense Cooperation Agreement, there are growing concerns among certain sectors about sovereignty and over-reliance on U.S. military support.
Being a friend to the United States is something that is inherent with most Filipinos, considering the relationship that we have had over 100 years in various forms. And you are our only treaty partner, and have and continue to be the supporter for peace in this part of the world, and we have always understood the principle that the greatest force for peace in this part of the world would be the United States.
For many Filipinos, this might feel like a double-edged sword. While they seek protection from Chinese expansionism, they fear being dragged into a conflict over which they have little control. As public opinion shifts, future administrations might face the difficult task of balancing national security needs with a desire to assert greater independence. Calls for a more neutral foreign policy, perhaps focusing on regional diplomacy and less on direct military alignment with superpowers, could gain traction, particularly if domestic opposition to U.S. military presence grows stronger. The deployment of NMESIS, therefore, isn't just about military strategy. It's also a test case for Philippine sovereignty in an increasingly complex geopolitical environment. The decisions made today will reverberate through the country's future military and diplomatic landscape. The real impact of Navy-Marine Expeditionary Ship Interdiction System won't be fully visible during Balikatan 2025, since it's not being live-fired. Instead, its presence is more symbolic, serving as a trial balloon for potential future deployments. Locations like Guam, Taiwan, and Palau are all possible future bases for this system, as the U.S. seeks to expand its strategic footprint in the Indo-Pacific region. As the global landscape of military technology evolves, NMESIS could play a vital role in integrating artificial intelligence, satellite targeting, and distributed command systems into a robust, flexible force. In this evolving context, NMESIS could become an integral part of a regional anti-access area denial (A2AD) strategy, a system designed to deny an adversary the ability to freely move across large areas of the sea or airspace. This, in essence, would counter China's own A2AD capabilities, particularly in the contested areas of the South China Sea and Taiwan Strait. However, the strategic shift represented by NMESIS is not without risk. The Indo-Pacific region is already a powder keg of overlapping territorial claims, tense military patrols, and deep-rooted geopolitical rivalries. As such, every new deployment carries the risk of miscalculation, where a small escalation could spark a much larger conflict. For instance, China might view the deployment of NMESIS as a direct challenge to its territorial claims and military dominance, prompting it to ramp up military activity in response. The U.S. strategy with NMESIS is based on flexibility, integration with allied forces, and speed. It seeks to stay one step ahead of China's expanding influence by investing in small, agile, and mobile systems that can be rapidly deployed, ideally outmaneuvering traditional large-scale military confrontations. The hope is that this rapid response capability will deter Chinese actions by demonstrating that the U.S. and its allies can project force quickly and unpredictably, without becoming bogged down in protracted military engagements. However, this approach has its uncertainties. While NMESIS enhances deterrence, it also adds a layer of complexity to the security environment in the Indo-Pacific. Will this increased military presence help stabilize the region, or will it provoke China into escalating its own military posturing? As military technologies advance, AI-driven decision-making and real-time satellite targeting might further complicate the region's security calculus, making missteps more likely. NMESIS isn't just about missile systems. It's a symbol of how the US is rethinking its approach to military presence in the region. The weapon itself represents a shift towards smaller, more flexible units, capable of engaging targets with precision, mobility, and stealth. The system embodies the future of US naval warfare, focusing on small, fast, and lethal capabilities rather than large, cumbersome military installations. NMESIS is about projecting force through agility and adaptability rather than overwhelming numbers and firepower. In the end, NMESIS is more than just a weapon. It's a symbol of US resolve and adaptability in a region marked by rising tensions. The pivotal question now is, can NMESIS help shape a new form of deterrence in the Indo-Pacific without escalating tensions or triggering full-scale conflict? The future of deterrence will be shaped not just by the missile itself, but by how it fits into a broader strategy of flexible defense, allied collaboration, and dynamic responses to the ever-changing security landscape. As tensions simmer, the US and its allies are placing their bets on speed, precision, and technological superiority, hoping that these qualities will prevent war, even as they make it more complicated to navigate peace. Thank you for tuning in to our channel. If you enjoyed the video, please remember to like, share it with your friends, and subscribe to our channel for more in-depth analysis of global issues.